Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 5th week of Fridays on the farm. This week we'll be learning about what we feed our cows and why. Now, you guys can see in front of me I have 6 different containers, and we're going to discuss what's in each container and why we feed it to our cows. Now, in our first container right here, I don't know if you guys remember from our first week, this is called calf starter. Now, does anyone remember what's in our calf starter? That's right, so it's a combination of corn, oats, and barley, and molasses that makes it nice and sweet. And by making it nice and sweet, we entice our calves to try it because it's something new that they've never seen, and that's what makes it so palatable. So they try it and they say, ooh, it's nice and sweet, and they want more. So our second container right here, does anyone have a guess on what this might be? No, it's not sand. It's actually what we feed our adult cows. So this is our adult cow grain, and we get it made specially for us every month. Now, we have a special nutritionist that comes every month and tests our forages. So our forages are a combination of a couple of different things. We call it hay, something called silage, which we'll learn about in a little bit, and something called corn silage. Now, whatever is lacking from our forage, it gets put into our grain, also known as a concentrate. So we make sure that our cows have a complete diet to make sure that they're not lacking on any vitamins or minerals. So our grain is a combination of a couple different ingredients. So we have something called canola in there. We have soybean meal, cornmeal, wheat, gluten, and something called citrus pulp. Now, each ingredient is put in there because it provides something that the cow needs to maintain body weight and to produce milk. For example, our cows are great consumers of human byproducts. Now, what that means is leftover product from foods that we produce. For example, citrus pulp is the leftover pulp made after orange juice is produced. So, like the leftover orange rinds and everything like that. It's also a great source of energy for our cows that we put in there. And then, for example, our soybean meal is a great source of protein for them. Now, this third container here, this may be an easy one. You guys might recognize it if you have any guinea pigs or bunnies at home. You may feed it to them. That's right, it's called hay. Now, what is hay? Hay is basically just dried grass. Now, this hay right here comes from a small square bale, and hay can come in a couple of different sizes and forms. Now, if you've been to the farm, you may have seen hay in a square bale like this, or a big round bale.
Here we are going to show you how we make our round bales at the farm. So of course hay bales are all made out of grass, so to first start off the process, we have to cut the grass and then dry it out. We then tether the grass so that it can fluff it out and even out the drying process. Once it's fluffed out, it's then raked and put into windrows, and then it's easy to bale. Each round bale that we make weighs around 1,200 pounds. That being said, we have to use a tractor to move these bales. Although we have 80 acres at our farm in Norwell, our herd of 140 cows requires more forage than we can produce on those acres. This being said, we farm multiple fields on the South Shore. By farming these fields, we have enough food to feed our cows all year long. The next step in making baleage is to wrap the bales in plastic. By wrapping the bales in plastic, we cut off the oxygen to the bale and we allow it to ferment. This way we can keep the bales for the entire year. It's important to keep a year of feed on hand at all times, especially with New England's weather. As you know, living in New England, the weather is very unpredictable. This being said, when we make our feed, we like to make enough to keep for the entire year. This way, if we have any floods, droughts, or any other unconventional weather patterns, we still have the food that we make to feed our cows.
Now, in our fourth container here, this is an easy one. This is just a dried corn cob, right? Now, what part of the corn plant do we eat? That's right, we eat the kernels. But what part of the corn plant do you guys think the cows eat? That's right, they eat the entire plant. They eat the kernels, the cob, and they even eat the stalks. And have you guys ever shucked corn and taken off the leaves and the silk? They eat that too. So our cows eat the entire corn plant, right? But how do we get that to our cows? Well, we feed it to our cows in a form called corn silage. Now, this is our corn silage, and you guys can see the different parts of the corn plant all chopped up. Now, that looks like maybe the husk, right? And this could have been part of the stalk. And we also can see some kernels in here. Now, how do we get the corn to this form? Well, we let the corn grow to maturity, so much taller than I would be. We chop the corn down at the bottom of the stalk, and we chop it up into tiny, tiny pieces, and then we put it into our silos right there. Now, each silo holds about 400 tons of corn silage. Now, what happens in there is something called fermentation. Now, if you were to smell our corn silage, you might think that it smells kind of sweet, or it might remind you of some pickles or some ketchup. Now, there is no oxygen in there. So if the corn plant was to sit in there all wet with the oxygen, it would get what? It would get all moldy, right? But by blocking out the oxygen, it causes the plant to do fermentation. And basically what happens is the corn plant sits in there and it basically cooks itself and it gets all sweet. And that's when we come out with this. Now, it takes us about 1 year to go through a whole silo. And by the time that we're at the end of one of the silos, it's ready to fill it again. Now, we have a special diet we feed our cows daily, and we mix their food fresh every day. So we mix a breakfast, we mix a lunch, and we mix a dinner. Now, we have a feed room that has a big mixing bowl in it, and we add all of these ingredients in there. So we will put our grain in there, we will add some hay or baleage, we add corn silage, and we add some water, and we mix it all together. And this is what our cows eat every day. Now, we call this a TMR, which stands for Total Mixed Ration. And each of the ingredients are measured out depending on our cow's needs and their nutritional requirements. So you can see the different ingredients in there. You can see the hay. You can even see the corn silage. And you can even see the grain. Now, our cows, does anyone know how much food they may consume in one day? Yes, they'll consume 100 pounds in one day. That's a lot of food. Sometimes they'll even consume a little bit more. Now, if they consume 100 pounds of food a day, how many gallons of water do you guys think they drink? Well, they can drink anywhere between 35 to about 45 gallons a day. That could fill a whole bathtub. That's a lot of water. In addition to our mixed rations that we create for our cows every day, our cows go outside, right? They go outside in between milking and feeding and everything like that, and they get to graze daily. So a part of their daily diet is also pasture. So pasture like Kentucky bluegrass, clover, orchard grass, and fescue. They all consume. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Fridays on the Farm. And tune in next week where we're going to learn about